Today, I have Dr. Linda Wilson. Dr. Linda Wilson will be speaking at the Holistic Business Hub's first birthday party. Now, Dr. Linda Wilson has been coaching and educating for over 20 years. She has been the managing director of her own multi-disciplinary clinic in Melbourne, Australia for the same period. Dr. Linda Wilson is an author, presenter, and coach. She holds a bachelor's degree in traditional Chinese medicine, a graduate diploma in education, has completed extensive study in the training and delivery of various psychosensory techniques, and uses psychological and neuro-plastic principles to facilitate change. Linda enjoys working with businesses that recognize their greatest asset is their people. Linda Wilson will be speaking on the foundations for a growth mindset. Welcome, Dr. Linda Wilson.
Thank you so much. It's lovely to be here.
It's great to have you here. Now, I have a few questions I would love to ask you. And first of all, I'd love to find out, what problems do your clients or your audience face before they come to you?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's often quite varied. However, the thing that I notice that is really in common for people is they know that there's something that they want to be doing or should be doing. They know how to do that thing. They know that it's possible to do it and that they can actually do that thing, but they're still not doing it. And when I say that thing, I'm talking about either personal goals or professional goals, or some kind of growth that they're wanting to create. So people come frustrated, they come angry with themselves, they come very disappointed with themselves, and there's a lot of judgment involved with that. So that's probably the most common thing that people seek me out for.
Frustrated human beings. They're great when they come to you. I'm sure that they come to you frustrated and they walk away being able to find the solution, which is really what my next question is. What is the solution that you provide to those frustrated individuals looking to really make a move towards achieving the goals that they've set for themselves?
Yeah, I think, and you know, this has been a process of discovery for me as well. I'm fascinated by the mind and the way that we actually use our mind to solve problems. And what I have discovered over the period of time that I've been working with myself, because I'm a human being in evolution, just like everybody else, is that often what we lack is simple frameworks. It's a simple understanding of the steps and the processes that we actually go through to land in procrastination, or to land in judgment, or to land in frustration. So what I try to teach people is the framework that they are using, the steps that they are taking, because with awareness, we're actually able to change that.
Great. So frameworks and steps to be able to make change. That sounds really simple. Yeah, that sounds really simple. I'm sure it's not easy. As you said, we're human beings. So even though we have the structures and frameworks, doing them is probably the part that's important, but probably the most difficult. Now, what I'd like to, yes? Please keep going.
I was just going to say, procrastination is a really big part of what I deal with, and I'm an expert at it myself from time to time, and it's going to be quite a large part of the foundations of a growth mindset talk, because frustration with your own procrastination or with your team's procrastination is a really big aspect of why people seek out my help. Yeah.
Oh, great. And with the people that do get help from you, I'd love to hear some research or some facts or even a case study about, you know, your topic and why that's so relevant for all of us to be able to achieve the things we want to achieve.
Sure. So a very quick case study is of a client that I'm working with currently, has some really important goals. So when I talk about goals, I'm not only talking about business goals, I'm also talking about personal goals. And actually, personal goals are a huge part of the work that I do because, you know, we are whole human beings, which is why I love the name Holistic Business Hub. We need to come towards our life and through our life with a really holistic approach. And that includes understanding our own personal drivers and our own personal goals. So this client identified one thing that she wanted to achieve. And what we have created is a really structured way for her to approach that goal that doesn't blow her out of the water, because often goals, they sound good, they look good, but the steps that we need to take to achieve them is way beyond anything that we've ever been able to sort of create. So this personal goal is, it's a wellness goal, and I can say that over the period of time we've been working together, she really has achieved an enormous amount in relation to that goal. Can't tell you too much because it's an existing client, of course. But for business owners, some of the really important statistics that we need to be aware of is that the cost of things like anxiety and stress, and these things are caused by us not feeling as though we're achieving in our life, it's actually costing Australian businesses over $10 billion a year. So if we're able to actually harness our ability to achieve more, adapt better, and learn how to operate for ourselves as an internal mechanism rather than external pressure, then we're going to be able to create more for ourselves, but also more for the business that we're in, whether that be our own business or whether we're employed by other people. So there's a lot of hard financial statistics that indicate if we can learn to manage our mindset better, we're actually going to be able to create a lot more.
I love so many things in what you just said. First of all, I love that you mentioned the Holistic Business Hub. Many people think that we just have holistic practitioners here, but holistic meaning in the dictionary is everyone is part of a greater whole. And the purpose of the Holistic Business Hub, what it says on our door, it says teach, learn, collaborate, and grow. Because I believe that together we can create better lives together. So each individual contributing to the growth of everybody else. Now, the other thing that you mentioned was, you know, that anxiety and stress really is caused by not feeling like you're taking the actions. And, you know, as a business owner, I regularly will find myself in overwhelm, and I realize that if I take a deep breath and start doing something, then instantly that anxiety just dissipates because I'm doing something towards whatever it is that I'm feeling overwhelmed towards. So they're really, really great examples. And what did you say, how much is it costing us? $10 million a year?
Yeah. Let me find my 10.11 billion.
Billion.
And this is a direct cost to Australian business owners. And that comes up in terms of presenteeism. So people are at work, but they're not functioning well, or they're absent. So they actually don't turn up because they're taking sick leave, etc., etc. And it's also to do with the fact that, you know, there's a lot more anxiety within the workplace because of the pressures that we're all under. So that 10.11 billion, if that's not a motivator for us to really look at what are we doing inside our own heads and how can we make that an easier place to be, I think that's a pretty good motivator financially.
Wow, yeah. Lots of really interesting statistics, facts and case studies there. What I would love to know is, in your keynote, Foundations for a Growth Mindset, what will be the top 3 topics or things that you'll be covering in order to really help us understand what Foundations for a Growth Mindset is all about?
So there's a number of areas that we work in. We've already mentioned a few of them. One of the things that I talk about is this concept of failure. And we have this huge fear of failure. And there's an actual cycle that we all go through that creates what is the failure cycle. So I'm going to be talking to people about what those things are, and how we can actually start to identify them. It's really interesting. People often say to me, oh my gosh, I could see myself really clearly in the information and the way that I do, failure. We talk about the 3 anchors of procrastination. Like, what is it? What is the mindset? What is it that we get into that really keeps us stuck in that place of procrastination? And we also talk about, I guess, the emotional volatility that goes with all of that. We're all challenged by what we think we're meant to be achieving, and then by what we're actually achieving.
Great. Challenged by what we think. Yeah, that's very true. I heard somebody very wise say that people seem to overestimate what they can achieve in 1 year, and underestimate what we can achieve in 3 years. So over in 1, under in 3. And looking back on my own journey and my own life, you really realize that 3 years ago, everything that I'm doing right now wasn't even like on the brink of thought in my life. So that's really, really important. Now, some of our listeners or our audience who may or may not be able to join us, but what I would love to do is give the people that are listening or watching one tip that they can walk away with today, they can implement in their lives, that will make a difference.
Yeah, so I would love for you to have a think about those areas in your life where you feel as though you're not achieving. And what I would really encourage you to do is make a list of the ways that you feel like you're not achieving. Because sometimes if we get really real with ourselves, and we write a list about the things that we're not doing, it actually reminds us of the things that we are doing. So there's 2 columns in this list that you're making. The first is where you feel like you're not, and the second is where you are. And I really encourage you to spend a lot more time on the list, the section of the list that is about what you are achieving. We fail to celebrate, we fail to recognize, and we fail to acknowledge ourselves for the things that we are actually getting done. And I think if we learn to really focus on those things, spend more time on those things, we just become happier people. We start to acknowledge ourselves more. We start to accept that we're not, superhuman beings. We start to accept that there is a finite amount that we can get done. And if we're choosing to focus on the positive, we will get more done.
That's really, really topical. That's so topical. Like, celebrating our wins is so important. And I 100% fail to do that. And I think sometimes it's understanding how to connect to the win and feel it internally, not just like, tick, yes, I've done that, but actually allow yourself to enjoy the feeling of that success. It's actually interesting when you mentioned failure. Recently, I've been looking at, probably more than just recently, but looking at the 2 facets of failure, like the fear of the success, and then the fear of failure. Because I find that we are afraid to fail, but then we're also so afraid of success because it puts so much responsibility on us. We have this vision of the person we want to be, and then we think, wow, if I become that person, then there's all of this responsibility that comes along with it. And we tend to really sit in a space where we don't allow ourselves to grow because we don't celebrate those successes, and we are afraid of those failures. And everything you're saying today really helps to change the mindset on both of those. So that's really, really empowering. So thank you so much. Now,
You're welcome.
Thank you. We'd love to know about Dr. Linda Wilson as a doctor, as a coach, as an educator, but we'd also love to know about, Linda Wilson as the person. So I'd love to know, if you could go anywhere in the world, what would be your ideal holiday destination?
It would definitely be somewhere where I could be horizontal for a lot of the time. So I love a good beach lounge. I love, just not in the sun because I'm a freckly person, but I love just being able to look at water or look at nature. Being out in nature is really important to me. So I don't know, think, tropical island, something like that. And what the things that I would be doing there are really just nurturing myself. So I'm the kind of gal that if I could get a massage every day, I'd be doing it. If I could read a good book every day, I'd be doing it. If I could have, go to a meditation class or a yoga class, I'd be doing that as well. All of those good things that are about self-care and really recharging the batteries. We are go, 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 go. And if we can invest in ourselves in terms of taking time, then our ability to create and our ability to be more and feel more is exponentially exploded.
Wow, that's great. It's actually a really great segue into my next question. So other than, going on a holiday destination and lying horizontal and really looking at water, unfortunately, we can't do that all the time. So what do you do for yourself on a day-to-day basis to really recharge and allow yourself to, delve into those resources and go back to the source and just be great the next day?
Yeah, it's such a great question. And I'm finding that, being very consciously aware of what does recharge our batteries is one of the most important things. So for myself, way back in the beginning when we started talking, and you mentioned the psychosensory tools that I use. And one of those tools is a tool called tapping. And I've been using tapping in my own life for over 17 years now. And it is my go-to decompression tool. It's how I set up my mind for the day, and it's how I allow myself to rest at night. It's like letting the steam out of the kettle is the best way to describe it. So I also try to meditate. I'm a pretty poor meditator, I have to say. I do need a guided meditation because my mind is, so busy all of the time. And I also try really hard just to have a bit of quiet time for myself. So that could be sitting in the garden, walking the dog, just the really simple things that help me to recharge.
That's really interesting. Tapping is one of those, I think it's one of those things where if you haven't tried it, it just sounds really odd.
Weird.
Really
Yeah.
does. It does sound really weird. And I've had some lovely people run some tapping workshops here at the Holistic Business Hub, and I've sat in on that, and it is a really interesting way. I guess one thing that it really does is it makes you mindful of what you're doing right in the moment. So you don't have the opportunity to be anywhere but right there because you're sincerely focused on what it is that you are doing, which is, I think is probably one of the main things that's really great about that. And it's nice to hear, I sometimes find tapping people that practice or teach EFT probably don't have all of those other qualifications that you have. So it's nice to bring that credibility of training and knowledge and education to that medium to be able to really show that it does work for all walks of life, and it's something that people shouldn't just disregard as odd. So that's really lovely.
Yeah.
There you
I
have
always love to say, sorry, Anna, I was just going to say, I love to have people who come either to my classes or come and see me who are skeptical but not cynical. I think it's really important to be a questioning mind, and it's really important to find out whether the information that you're receiving is actually a fit for you. Right? We have to find stuff that actually works for us. So skeptics are fantastic. Cynics, not so much.
What a great distinction. Skeptic, not, I forgot, cynic. For some reason I just thought of Simon Sinek, and I thought that sounds like the wrong word, but it is the right word.
Love it.
Well, that was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for spending your time and sharing your knowledge and wealth with us. This was Dr. Linda Wilson. Now, Dr. Linda Wilson will be speaking at the Holistic Business Hub's first birthday party on Tuesday, the 26th of March. Her session starts at 9 a.m. and she'll be on with two other fantastic speakers that really help with business growth, from branding to really dominating and scaling. So it's really nice to start with a growth mindset and then move through to how we implement that into practical tools to help our businesses grow. Thank you so much, Linda.
My pleasure, Anna. Looking forward to seeing you there.